The next matter that was set for sentencing this morning is People versus Andrea Gail Hillman. She's represented by attorney Peter Taylor. And Mr. Taylor's office called Friday and said he had to be at another court. Could we move this to 1 o'clock? I said, yes, but then nothing was ever done. No amended notice was filed. No one told the prosecutor, and nothing was changed in the file. It still shows it's set for 11 o'clock this morning. Mr. David Marvin is here, and a number of the complaining witnesses are here. And it's our error. This is input for sentence purposes. I'll allow Mr. Taylor to see this if he wishes to. But this case has some history to it. The file number is 231831FY of discord between the neighbors there at the park. I think at one point she had requested a personal protection order, which I denied, and the White Pigeon PD have been there on a number of occasions. So there are people here that wanted me to hear what they had to say. She was charged with assault with a dangerous weapon and assault and battery. She pled to careless driving and assault and battery, and the matter was set for sentencing. She advised the court that as soon as this is done, she's going to move back to where she's from out east. And so the matter was set for this morning. She has no record whatsoever. She was upset that the complainants had a turkey in their yard, and somehow she interpreted that as some sort of a racist or white power symbol. I looked online between then and now, and I couldn't find any reference to turkeys being any sort of nefarious symbol. I found lots of turkey signs you could put in your yard, particularly as we get close to Thanksgiving, but I didn't find any underground. I found a bunch of other stuff I didn't know about. The traditional OK symbol has got some connotations, and there were some other things, but so Mr. Marvin has made an effort to be here. So who would like to speak regarding this?
Your Honor, I would defer to this gentleman who raised his hand and have him come up and introduce himself.
All right, why don't you come up to the podium if you would?
Right here?
Yes.
Okay.
Good morning. Would you state your name, please?
Good morning, Your Honor. My name is Matthew Joseph Bagayski. I wrote a lot of things down today. I'm a little nervous, but it's finally coming to a head. This is my family. This is my wife, Ashley, of 15 years, my son, Josiah, he's 12, my son, Matthew, who's 10, and my daughter, Ashley, who's 8. In the park, there's a numerous amount of kids, a numerous amount of children. I've never really had an issue with her. She doesn't like children, and she's always going back and forth with the children. I have 3, and I'm concerned about because her behavior over the years became a lot more erratic. She has no problem perjuring herself in court. I guess let me start with like the incident in hand, because that's what we're here today for. I come to you today respectfully to plead that you don't. I feel like the value of this case is being pushed down, and she's getting all this sympathy that she does not deserve. This woman has made it miserable for everyone in the park for so many years, Your Honor, and she's made our life miserable. I couldn't put out signs for my children to say slow down signs because she said she kept kicking them down, and then she complained to the park, and they said, well, it's to keep the kids safe. There's 12 children around in that, just within 2 houses of her in a complete circle radius. So there's a lot of children, and that's not counting her grandkids. Well, her grandkids are 3 doors down. So this like, for instance, the cone and the slow sign is all keeping her grandkids safe as well. But her hate for us is so deep that she doesn't care. Like everything I do in my house, I put a turkey, it's not racist. It's not a rebel flag. I've never used the racist term. I haven't even spoken to her since the PPO of last year. I haven't looked her direction. I have cameras. I'm willing to give them to you. And if I could prove this, I mean, she's been perjuring herself for years with the police. The police have never found anything. I have a perfect record. And she's bashed my name through the school systems because she's telling everybody in the park that I'm harassing her, that she's living in fear for her life. She's over dramatized this. And she's ran her name through the mud for years. And I feel that there's not much difference between shooting a bullet at me and missing and then swerving at me with a car. I don't understand why she's getting charged with a traffic violation and a misdemeanor. She tried to actually cause bodily harm. And not only at me, but at another father in the park that lives within a 2-door radius. He has 4 children. I have 3. She could have took us both out. And I think the only reason she swerved back is because there was a truck that she didn't want to hit. So, and she has no sympathy. She stood before the court last week, cried for herself. She wants to move away. So she wants to do this somewhere else.
I mentioned that to Mr. Marvin, and he thought that was a good idea.
It's a great idea.
And so do I. I think it could make a better circumstance for everyone.
Everyone, yes.
So you're in favor of her moving out of the park?
Absolutely. It's, I don't want to live in fear. I don't want to know that my children are outside. And if she comes out there, I have to go out there because my kids are scared of her. She is very explosive. Nobody knows what she's going to do. So she's unpredictable. So every time my children go out, she goes out and intimidates them. So I have to go out and I have to sit outside, in fear for my children. And it's gotten to the point where, like, we spent our whole summer at the lake this summer because I want my kids to experience outside. I don't want them staying inside and playing video games all day. I want them to go out and live a little, but they can't do that where we live because of her. She's made it very, very, very hard to live with, like around that area. And I plead with you, don't let her jump across state and, she's going to do it again. And again. Well,
this is charged with a 4-year felony. I don't know what a jury would have made of this. So I don't have any criticism, and the prosecutor's taking the driving charge, which will put something on her driving record and affect that. And then assault is a threat to do an immediate battery. Assaulting somebody with a car is a hard case to prove as a felony. But so I got what I got. It's punishable by up to 93 days in jail. She has no criminal record. And Mr. Taylor, if he was here, he's going to argue for no jail. So I don't know what 90 days in jail would accomplish. I'm going to fashion some sort of sentence, I think, that would compel her to move. Now, who else is here with you?
My mother, my brother, my father. My mother gave me the turkey, and we had it for 3 days before she actually completely lost it. And
what was it made out of?
Steel. And I also have steel decorations on my house that says welcome. It's a sunflower, and it's all made out of like tin. And then I have a tin turkey that my mother bought a rooster, and so she replaced it with. So I got.
You got the turkey.
Her
she
lawn
got the
ornament.
rooster.
Yeah.
And then who else is here? What's your name, sir?
Nathan King. I was just in the wrong place at one time.
All right. Well, I appreciate the fact that you're
standing outside talking with Matt.
All right. Well, I'll get to you in a minute.
Yeah. If he didn't warn me, I would have got hit because my back was turned to her the whole time. No, not a word was said to her. She came out, she was muttering, but she's always muttering something, so I didn't pay a thought to her. I had my back turned the whole time. And
do you think she has mental health problems?
Absolutely. She told me when she moved in, her daughter told me. That's why I've been a sport about this. I've been putting, okay, I let her talk, I let her yell at me about the kids, and I walk away. And I've been a real sport about this until last year when I got served with a personal protection order. I didn't even know her name. I mean, that's how, like, I have 3 kids to raise. They're involved in the church, they're involved in school activities. The last thing on my agenda is to know or care what Andrea is doing.
All right. Is there anyone else that wants to speak? And what's your name again, sir?
Nathan King.
All right.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I'm going to be, do you want to speak, Mr. King?
Just.
All right, why don't you come up? State your name
Nathan Claude King.
and what would you like me to know?
I pretty much keep to myself in the park. I mean, because Matt, he lives across from me. My sons play with his kids.
Well, let me say this. I'm the landlord tenant judge and also the judge on all kinds of things. I don't hear much out of this park, meaning it's the kind of place where everybody takes care of things and the cases don't come to court.
Yeah, it's a
Um,
pretty decent park.
I don't get a lot of complaints out of there. So I think it's the kind of place where people take care of themselves and maybe look out for their neighbors.
Right. And I just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. I was out there talking with Matt, and then she came out saying that you're effing racist. Threw her purse in the car, and then she sped out the driveway. And I was like, Matt, watch out. And then he kind of jumped out of the way when she came swerving past us. I mean, we were like right at the end of his driveway. I mean, if I wouldn't have been paying attention or he wouldn't have, she would have hit him.
All right. Sounds like there's certainly a mental health and other aspects to this. All right, now you're all welcome to come back at 1 o'clock, but I don't expect you to. You can log in on Zoom, go to the Judge Middleton YouTube site, and you'll be able to watch it live at 1 o'clock.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Yep, today.
Thank you.
All right.
Have a good day.
All right, thank you all for being here. All right. We're going to return to the record and the sentencing of People versus Andrea Gail Hillman. Ms. Hillman is here with her attorney Nathan Taylor. Defendant was originally charged with assault with a dangerous weapon, 2 counts, and assault and battery. She entered a plea to assault and battery and careless driving, and the matter was set for sentencing today at 11 o'clock. Also present is prosecuting attorney David Marvin. So the matter was on the docket for 11 o'clock. Mr. Taylor called last Friday, sometime during the day, I don't know when the call came in, and asked if the matter could be adjourned at least to the afternoon because the defendant had something that she had to do. And I said that would be fine. And then nothing else ever happened. The prosecutor didn't get notice, no adjournment was filed. The clerks, my staff didn't change anything, not the clerks, but anyway, so this morning I wasn't even clear what time it was set for. So at 11, Mr. Marvin is here with the complainants and a number of others. I guess just the complainants were here. The complainant, the 2 men in the complaint, and some family members who took time off, came here for the sentencing. And I wasn't clear what the conflict was. I thought Mr. Taylor had to be in court. And I thought about having him Zoom in, but I thought, well, if he's got to be, what I was told was that Mr. Taylor had to be 2 places at once. So I thought, well, we can't have him Zoom in if he's in court somewhere else. Anyway, I heard what the people had to say on the record in open court, and it was live streamed. I thought, well, if necessary, Mr. Taylor can watch the live stream and with his client. And they represented their positions in the matter. They were dissatisfied to some extent with the plea agreement. At least the primary complainant, Mr. Bogoski. And I explained that the defendant had no criminal record whatsoever, that I had had some exposure to this because of the personal protection order request, and that generally this is a peaceful neighborhood. I don't get a lot of complaints from here. I also indicated, Ms. Hillman, that I did some online search to see if I could find anything where a turkey was some secret white supremacy symbol or something, and I couldn't find anything. He indicated that his mother was here, that she gave him the turkey. She bought a different lawn ornament and gave him that. So Mr. Taylor had sent Mr. Marvin and I a picture of the turkey. And now it has a gun laying in front of it, which is not helpful at all. So I heard from Mr. Marvin and
Your Honor,
yes.
actually, I sat in silence. so
I heard from the complainants. Mr. Marvin, and to his credit, he kind of inherited this, but he is responsible for everything in his office, and so he came down to be here. So yeah, Mr. Marvin didn't speak, simply allowed the complainants to state their position. So Ms. Hillman is here, you are here, and you provided me with a picture, and Mr. Marvin, of this turkey. And looks like a toy wooden gun laying in front of it. Mr. Taylor, what would you like me to know?
Well, we have Kathy Woods here. I provided a letter that she wrote this morning.
How about if I read it into the record and then see if she has anything more to say beyond that?
That would be good.
Whom it may concern, my name is Kathy Woods and I live at Lot 55 in Colonial Estates. I've known Andrea Hillman for approximately 3 years and have witnessed the exchange of Matthew and Ashley Pugowski as well as their children toward Ms. Hillman. Andrea is a solitary person and doesn't come out of her house unless to go to her daughter's shopping or gardening, which she loves. On several occasions, I have been at her home and witnessed the harassment of kids coming into her yard. Matthew having his phone pointed at us as if we were videotaping or taking pictures. On most occasions, this has occurred while I visited. I know what Mr. Bukowski has said in court today and was appalled by the slanderous lies he was telling toward a good name in the community. And if a poll were taken, it's Matthew and his family that people want out of the park. I implore you to allow her to go back home even after the previous hearing on 10/17. Mr. Bukowski moved that stupid turkey right back over to the side of his yard closest to her home and pointed it right back at her. If only you know of the things he does, not only to her, but to others, you would allow her to go ahead with her plans. I apologize for my scribbling as I'm very upset over this morning lies and accusations toward Miss Hillman. Signed, Kathy Woodson. And you're Kathy Woodson?
Yes, I'm Kathy Woods, sir.
Woods.
Yes.
Yeah, Woods. And that's your statement in this matter?
Yes, sir.
All right, very good. Thank you for being here. All right.
Was
Mr.
there anything else that you wanted to add after watching that video this morning about?
Well, this morning when I was watching the video, I had no intentions on coming.
Well, just a minute, you can't just speak from,
I'm sorry.
also, the crime victims' rights statute allows victims to speak. It
Okay.
doesn't necessarily allow witnesses on behalf of the defendant, but the way things went, I feel like I should allow Ms. Woods to tell me what she wants. Do you have any objection, Mr.?
No, I think that the more information, the better, because we all need to know what's going on.
All right, Ms. Woods, come up to the podium if you would and state your name.
My name is Kathy Darlene Woods,
And you live at Colonial Estates?
Lot 55, yes, sir.
Yes, all right. What would you like me to know?
This has been going on for a long time, not only with Ms. Hillman, but with myself and others in the community. Matthew this morning portrayed himself as a victim, which in my opinion, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to tell you falsehoods. It's wrong. I mean, he walked in here this morning like he was some sort of a cripple. When they're at the park, he's out playing basketball with his kids and putting steel doors on his home. He came to my house when I was working. I'm retired from the power company, Indiana Michigan Power. He used to come to my house and ask me for narcotics, like opioids for pain that he was having before he got his Social Security disability. He goes to another neighbor's house and I'm
No,
there.
stop. I guess it's good to hear everything, but this is all character assassination, I guess. He's not here and she wasn't here.
Correct.
So,
Well, as to what I see,
Well-
is that what you want to know, sir?
she pled guilty
Yes.
to a criminal offense,
No contest.
no contest.
I
Were you
just
there?
wanted to go home.
Were you there when it happened?
No, I live right down the road. She came to my home immediately after to use my phone to call the police
All right, so she called the police.
from my home. Yes, sir.
All right, very good. So what do you know about that incident? Anything else?
Well, the day that she came to my house, she was very upset because of the turkey. I'm Southern, so where I come from, I know what a tom turkey means in my culture. A tom turkey in my culture simply means that it's a racial slur against a black person. Where I come from, there's still black people, African American, whatever. So there are a lot of different things where I'm from than is up here. So when on the 17th, she had court last week. I drive around the park for Rebecca, you know, Rebecca Lentz.
Yes.
I watch you all the time with her, but to make sure everything is where, you know, it's supposed to be and there's not anyways. That turkey was pointed right back at her as soon as they left. It's like what I see, what he does to me and her together is absolutely harassing. Me, he drives about my house and he rolls down the window. His windows are black. So he drives by my house that same day. I'm outside, he rolls down the window and he smiles at me real big. So she calls the cops come to my house and then they go down to and talk to her. Or did they go down there? They went down there first and then they came back, even though she's the one that called, went to the police department in White Pigeon. They went down to his house. So she stayed at my house for a while. Rebecca was there as well. And then charges got filed against her. And nothing has stopped from him. She don't do anything to stay in the house. But his kids were in her yard playing yesterday.
Who took this picture?
Andrew did.
And it's now got a little wooden gun in front of it. When did you take the picture?
12:49
Of what
Just-
day?
today.
I took the same one yesterday.
I haven't been outside, sir.
Okay,
Was there a gun yesterday?
Yes, sir, there was.
all right, thank you for being here.
Thank you, sir.
All right, with that, Mr. Taylor, what else would you like me to know?
Well, preliminarily, I'd move to strike any statements that the victims may have made without all the parties being present. And I'd ask the court not to consider those. Ms. Hillman is 60 years old. She came to Michigan a few years ago to help her daughter and son-in-law with their children because they were preschool age at that point. Then COVID came around and she ended up being stuck here in Michigan. She plans to go back to Massachusetts within the next month, but I think it's actually the next week. Monday. Well, the reason that we asked to have it moved until 1 o'clock today was that there was a Section 8 video that she had to watch for Massachusetts. It was one of the requirements in order to get her Section 8 voucher. And that started at 10, and she found out about that after our last court date. And she didn't know that it'd be done in an hour so that she could be here by 11. So that's why we called and just asked the court to move it to the afternoon. Ms. Hillman really did feel threatened, I believe, before this happened, and it's been continuing on. As I said, she wants to move back to Massachusetts. She is set up to move back to Massachusetts. And also I'd cite that under MCL 769.5, for non-serious misdemeanors, which I would argue an assault and battery is, that a non-jail, non-probation sentence would be appropriate with fines and costs only. Thank you.
Anything further, Mr. Marlin?
So earlier this morning, I chose not to say anything because I thought that would be an opportunity for the court to hear what the other party had to say. And I know that the court, in preparation for sentencing, has broad discretion in what you can hear and what, you can put a lot of effort into listening to a lot of things that you can then put investigation into.
Well, if they'd written me letters, I would have read the letters, and Mr. Taylor would have had the letters and an opportunity to respond. He can view the video, but you were trying to exercise the utmost discretion, and I appreciate that.
Well, and that's why I think that while I understand the request and there was a request by Mr. Taylor to strike anything that was said, I think it's appropriate what was said. I think it's just that side of the story, and the court can hear that. But you also need to know that now that we've heard everything, it might be more clear why this went from what it was to what it became, which I think is appropriate. So I think that my office has made it very clear what we think. It's assault and battery and a careless driving. So I stand by that. And I don't have any comments with respect to a sentence. I defer to the judge. And you heard it all.
Well, Mr. Taylor referred to the statute, which is relatively new, 769.5, which presumes there's no jail or probation in misdemeanor cases. This defendant has no criminal record whatsoever, as far as I can tell. And I asked them, would it help if she moved? And they, Mr. King and Mr. Bogoski both said yes. And I think her life would be better if she moved and didn't have this constant source of irritation. Ms. Hillman, you pled no contest, and I accepted the plea, but is there anything else you want to say to me before I do the sentence? You have a right to tell me what you want me to know.
I have tried for 5 years to turn the other cheek, to stay in my house, to see who's out, make sure nobody's outside so I can water my flowers. I go by the tenant's manual because I had flowers, which I've already torn out because I'm moving. I'm obligated to be in my yard, to tend to the yard.
Well, you should be able to be in your yard. There's no reason why you should not be able to.
I've had a video camera on me for the last year and a half. It's been on, I'm pretty sure. Every time I go outside, he comes outside. The pictures from the restraining order, Your Honor, if you look at them and if you look at the video, which I haven't even watched, but I would instruct you to look at the angle of the camera.
Well, he said I have video.
I
have video cameras.
But they're on my house. I have no freedom where I live. This is already I mean, I had no phone in my house. I needed help. And I was always taught, if you need help, go to the police. In 2019, or when I went to the police a couple of years ago for the restraining order because he threatened me, I was told by the police that the only person that it's illegal to threaten is the President of the United States. I tried to get a restraining order at that time to protect me, to have peace. And for some reason, at that hearing, my story has never been told. 5 years ago, his daughter was in her first year of school, preschool, whatever. She was a little bean pot. And she came home from school and was crying. I heard a child in my house. I was in my house, heard a child sobbing. I looked out and she's banging on their door. She kicks the door, slides down and starts sobbing. She has no coat. She has no socks on. As a red-blooded human being, I went to see what was wrong with the child. Nobody was home. I don't feel comfortable taking somebody's child into my house that I don't know. Their other neighbor next door, Amber Barton, was pulling out of the driveway. Me knowing that she's a social worker, I waved her down. Can you help me? She and I sat with their child in the heated car for 45 minutes before any parent showed up. I'm a licensed foster parent in the state of New Hampshire. I don't know if it's still valid, but I still consider I have to report it. Amber definitely has to report something like that. Ever since that happened 5 years ago, that family has been unrelenting. My sister comes from Pennsylvania to visit me once a year. His children are in my yard while I'm cooking out. Could you please go home? Could you please get out of my yard the next day? Don't be talking to my kids. It's been 5 years of this. I've turned the other cheek. I've sucked it up. It's more important to take care of my babies. They need me. They need me. In my mind, at that moment, Your Honor, he went from harassment to federal hate crimes. I don't know. I don't want the problem solved. I just want to go home. When I call the police, they go to his house. When I go to get a restraining order as a victim, I can't get one. When he gets one, he follows me everywhere. He pulls in next to me at the store. I haven't left my house as a grown woman alone in a month and a half without a chaperone.
Tell me about your plan to move.
Can we take it off record so I won't be harassed?
Well, you don't have to tell me the town, but you've made arrangements to move.
I have an apartment available in my name November 1st.
All right, and so you plan to move during the month of November?
Yes.
And I
have another instance that was this is him. I was walking, I had just gotten a horrible, horrible phone call from Massachusetts that my stepson had just died, my daughter's only living sibling. So I'm walking, trying to figure out how to break this to my daughter. as I'm walking by with my head down because I'm trying to get it together. Ma, Ma, hey, Ma. Please don't call me that, Matthew. Ma, what do you want me to call you? Mrs. Hillman would be nice. I'll call you whatever I want to call you. I'll call you Ma. Ma. And the whole way I'm walking to my daughter, Ma, 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 Ma. Your Honor, to this day, I don't remember my son's voice calling me Ma. I remember him. It's been unrelenting, sir. Tailgating my car, his daughter pulling through out in her scooter right in front of me after I've stopped. I've stopped. The children are on the side of the road. So you assume the children have car, let's wait on the side. As she shoots out right in front of me. Even her brother, the older brother, was screaming her name. What are you doing? What are you doing?
I think I got the picture. I've dealt with these neighbor situations my entire career. And generally, a personal protection order is not meant for feuding neighbors, particularly ones that live in very close proximity to each other. Doesn't solve anything. Just causes more irritation. Several times when I was prosecutor, I tried to mediate neighbor disputes. Two neighbors that lived next door to each other that could not get along. Both parties stubbornly refused to move. One morning, one neighbor came out, and shot the other with a .357 handgun 5 times.
Well, he has weapons.
Well, that didn't solve the problem, but the man went to prison for a long period of time. He's out now. Anyway, you can't, I've never been able to solve these situations, and a personal protection order is not the answer. The answer is one of the parties moving, which you're prepared to do. And you point out the very strong point that there are 2 sides to each story. They felt very strongly about their position this morning. You feel very strongly about yours. I am not at all impressed with that little gun sitting in front of that turkey. And I'm not from the South, and I couldn't find anything that said, but anyway, if somebody wants to have a turkey ornament in their yard, I guess they can. But the gun is sort of like rubbing salt in it. I'm going to make that part of the file. Mr. Taylor, are you moving that into an exhibit?
For sentencing, yes, I'd like that to be part of the court file.
Yes, I'll make it part of the file.
I provided it to the prosecutor also via email.
On the careless driving, that's a civil infraction. It's not a crime. Fine and costs are $150. By operation of the motor vehicle code, those are due within 30 days. So I'll make that due by December 1st. Thanksgiving's in there. I'll give them a little extra. On the assault and battery, no contest plea for the vehicle. How long were you in jail before you posted bond?
They let me out on my own recognizance. I was there for 8 hours
We're
roughly.
gonna call that 1 day credit, 1 day. I'm gonna do a 2-month probation, non-reporting. Once you provide proof that you've moved out of the park, that probation can be terminated. Rebecca Lance is the manager, and she can, a letter from her would confirm that she's left. The reason I do a 2-month probation, I can alter the sentence. If I just do a sentence, it's done. You can't change it. If the party's placed on probation, the sentence can be altered, which could include, I suppose, even jail time. But what's going to solve this? You don't have to go 900 miles away to another state, but I think you may get some peace of mind to get out of here and restart your life somewhere else that you're familiar with. I've already done a fine in the other case. This isn't about money. This is $75 crime victims' rights fee and a $50 state minimum fee. The gun at the feet of the turkey is telling. Can you pay all of that by?
I can pay it all today, sir.
All right, there's no other fine. The White Pigeon Police are frustrated with this too, I'm sure. They don't have a handy answer to this. As I said, this is generally a nice park. I don't get a lot of complaints from there. There's a lot of people that take care of their property, keep to themselves. It's well maintained when you drive back there. And once you move, the case can be completed. If you don't move, I can alter the sentence. But you owe 125 plus 150, which is $275.
If you want to make it 275, that's fine, but I had,
220.
yeah, you said you owe 100,
$75 crime victims' rights.
75 and 50 would be
$50.
100. Right, 275 is the total, and the
Yes.
careless is 150, right?
Yeah, the
Yeah,
careless is
275.
150, so the total is 275.
Yeah.
All right. The letter and the photograph will be made a part of the file. Thank you, Mr. Martin.